All right. Hey, folks. Do I got audio? Looks like I've got audio. Welcome. Yeah, looks like everything's working here. Welcome to the late shift. It's been a few weeks. Man, but it feels good to be back here, and hopefully everything's going to work for me. Looking good. I don't know if many of you folks are college basketball fans. I certainly am, so I love this time of year. It's always kind of fun. It's always crazy. But we'll worry about that maybe a little bit later. Man, I was out a couple of weeks with the flu, and then last week I was in Connecticut for HamSCI. The flu, not so fun. HamSCI was a blast. It was really awesome. We'll talk about that a little bit. Boy, it's good to see everybody out there in the chat. Thanks for all the welcome backs and the warm reception, folks. Looks like you guys missed me a little bit. I missed you guys, certainly. Once you get used to this, you really miss it. So it's good to be back. Let's see here. Gosh, I don't have one like specific topic. I've been away so long. It feels like I've got like this huge queue of stuff that we have to talk about, right? Things that we should be touching on. So I think what I'm going to do tonight is we're going to talk about just a lot of different things. And then, oh man. So I went to HamSCI last week. And I went with Jason, hamradio 2.0, and we had a great time. It was a lot of fun, but it's dangerous. It's always dangerous when Jason and I have some downtime to be able to kind of chat about this and that and whatever. I know a lot of you guys probably just came off the Gigaparts stream. I just came off of the chatting with Jason thing where I ordered probably more than I did talking with him and getting an idea to, try this and try that, probably more so than I spent on the Gigaparts stream. But it's like 2 or 3 really cool projects. I want to tell you guys about them. And then, maybe at some point during the show here, you guys, I've got all these things stacked up and they're all cool and they're all going to be fun. Maybe you guys can tell me which ones you're most interested in. And we'll do those here on the channel, on the live stream. Then I'll do the others in videos. Let's see here. St. John's to the Final Four. Ooh, see, I've got my dark horse. It's not really a dark horse. It's a 2 seed, but I think Iowa State's going to surprise some folks. I say that, and I haven't even seen any of the games today. Who knows? Maybe they lost today. I don't know. Arnie says, say hello to my wife, Christina. Hey, Christina. Thanks for watching the show. Thanks for hanging out. That's awesome. Chris, good to see Chris out there. But yeah, so I've got all these cool projects. I bought all this stuff, whenever I was hanging out with Jason, all these different ideas and projects that we had. And some of it's already started rolling in. So I'm going to show you guys some of the cool stuff. And like I said, you guys can pick what we want to do here on the late shift, and I'll just do the rest in videos. So let's see. Cooley, good to see Cooley out there. Very nice, very nice. Let's see, just some general things, and I think most people probably know about these. Oh, hey, first of all, you know what? Let me see. Can I tell the difference? Oh, yeah, look at that. This will be interesting. So YouTube has this new thing that allows you to do vertical streaming at the same time that you're doing regular streaming. It's a little button you have to check whenever you're setting up the stream. I've never tried it before. It hasn't been out that long. I think it was out 3 weeks ago though when I when I last streamed, but I wasn't ready to take the plunge. But when I saw it today and I was setting up the plunge, I went ahead and said, yeah, go ahead. It'll be interesting because they manage the shot. So I can see, it's a little bit behind here in what I can see. And it looks like they're kind of shooting down the middle. So we'll see. It could be interesting to see how that all plays out. This might be the first and last time we do it. Who knows? So Clubhouse has been doing it. That's cool. That's cool. I always watch Clubhouse on the TV, on the big TV. So Trina likes to watch Clubhouse too. So we watch that on the big TV in the living room. And yeah, so I've not had a chance to pick it up in the vertical format. So it'll be kind of fun to go back and watch that. Yeah, so I'm late to the game on that. But anyhow, we've got that. That's new. We're trying that tonight. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, maybe it's okay as long as I can stay in the middle. I can stay in the middle here, probably be fine. But yeah, some, things you guys have probably all heard, right? Bouvet Island is complete. Everyone was back on the boat. I think the last I saw, they were almost to Cape Town. Maybe they're still on the boat, but over 100,000 contacts. So certainly I would say that was a success. So that was kind of cool. I know when we were in Connecticut at the ARRL headquarters, we were actually operating there at W1AW, and they popped up on Ham Alert. They were running FT8, but they had already worked them there at the station. If you guys have not been to W1AW before, everyone's welcome to operate there, but you have to operate with the W1AW call sign. You can't use your own call. And so, because things were so crazy trying to make contacts with those folks, we didn't try to get another W1AW call. But, yeah, successful and, thankfully successful, right? That's been a rough one. So good to see those guys had a good trip. I think I've got a picture on the this and that too that caught my eye that we'll share a bit. Hey, I heard this yesterday. You guys may or may not have heard this yet, but I think it's a federal judge, had ordered back on air Voice of America. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that and see how that all plays out. But there's a fair number of workers. I think over 1,000 workers that were impacted by that. So that will be really interesting. It'll be interesting to keep an eye on that. You guys will have to stay abreast of that. That'll be really interesting. That's all I'm going to say. I don't like to get political here, but that's a big deal. It's something we should mention and something that's worth chatting about a little bit. Let's see what other kind of fun things here. Well, you know what? Let's jump into some this and that. A bunch of my stuff's in the this and that. Let me see if all my buttons and stuff still work. Boy, I upgraded a few things. It's always a little scary whenever you do like an upgrade for the Stream Deck or something like that. You just never know. Let's see here. We got some, hey, look at that. Some things are still working. All right. You know what? I'll bring that up. But before we go too far, I guess what I should do, it's been a while since I've done this. I should bring this up. Let's do this. See if I can remember how everything works. Hey, let me mention real quick, just a couple housekeeping items. I've got a couple of links that I like to share at the beginning of the stream, so everyone's aware of these. Let me bring up my chat so I can drop some of these out there for you guys. I've got a link tree type thing, and this has all of my discount codes, links to my Amazon store, all those kinds of things. And there we go. I've got one out there. If you guys are looking for discount codes, if you're looking for t-shirts, bumper stickers, all that kind of stuff, you'll find this stuff out here. The other thing I always like to point out is our buddy in the chat, Tim EOD Kaboom. He does a few of these frequency charts. He posts those in a number of places. I post them here as well. But these are satellite frequency charts. So if you want a little cheat sheet, you can come out here, you can grab those there. And then, like I said, I've got a bunch of just different links and whatnot. Let me, I've got one more too I should share with you guys. And this is the community list. Let me drop this one in the chat for you. And this one here, this gets you signed up on my newsletter so you can stay in touch with everything that we got going on the channel, all that kind of good stuff. This is also, hey Frank, this is also where you need to be signed up if you want to win any of the channel giveaways. So people usually love giveaways. Who doesn't like something for free, right? But you got to be signed up on the community list for any of the channel giveaways. So that's what's going on there. Let's go ahead and jump into this and that. This is a little bit of old news at this point. This is my buddy Hayden, HamRadio DX. He just scored his silver play button. So that's a big deal. So that's 100,000 subscribers. So I just wanted to say shout out to Hayden. Congratulations. It's, man, that's a lot of work. Believe me, that is a ton of work. So congratulations to Hayden. Certainly didn't want to miss that. All right. I've got something that is wicked cool here. So I was up in Connecticut, and you know what? Let me, I'm getting ahead of myself here. This is what happens. I'm getting excited. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let me show just a couple of more things real quick before I jump into that. All right. I've got a couple of items here I want to bring your attention to. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, if you guys are paying attention to California AB1043. This is some wacky legislation that was passed in California, and I'm not going to go through this. I want you guys to be aware that it's out there. If you go out to the Buy Me a Coffee for the channel, you'll find that link over in the bitsy/dr link tree. Take a look at this article and make sure you guys understand what's going on with this legislation, because it's going to have an impact on ham radio. It's going to have an impact on all kinds of open source software, but it's going to definitely have an impact to ham radio. And essentially this is all being done, under the banner of we're trying to protect children. So we're trying to put age validation in operating systems, and then we're going to make operating systems we're going to make applications interrogate that information that's in the operating system to decide whether or not, people should be using that software. And, it all sounds really good. It all sounds very helpful until you actually read the act. I encourage you to go out and look at this act. It's not very long, but it's a typical piece of legislation that's written by people who don't understand technology, and it is a train wreck. So go check that stuff out. And this is going to impact people like KM4ACK, who does 73 Linux. This is going to impact people like Sebastian, who do Polo. I mean, this is going to impact everybody. And I think it really hits hobby developers the hardest, right? Because they don't have the support, the infrastructure, or the cost, or the resources to align with these types of legislation. And so what some people are doing, I'll give you some interesting tidbits here. Again, I want you to go out and read this. One Linux OS is saying, hey, we just changed our terms of service, right? You're not allowed to use this software in the state of California. So you're going to see that type of approach because people just can't afford or deal with the silliness of this legislation. And like I said, you know, we have the California effect here, which is a problem, right? Because California starts the ball rolling on this stuff, and then it starts to spread to other states. Colorado has a copycat piece of legislation that's going through their process right now. It's very similar. And look, there's real money associated with these fines, right? So here, if you look at this penalty phase here, $2,500 per affected child if you're just negligent. If it's an intentional violation, it's $7,500 per child. I mean, this starts to add up really fast. I don't want to get too sideways on this. I'm working to try to get some of our ham radio software producers together so we can actually do a live stream on this and chat about this and see how they're thinking about this and how they might try to approach this. So check this out. It's really interesting. All right. The other thing here, I want to, another article I've got out there, and these are free articles. You don't have to be a buy me a coffee member or anything to look at these, but I did a little article here on my experience at HamSCI. I'll be putting out a couple small videos. Now, Jason is putting out, as he's done for like the last 6 years, he'll be putting out videos of all the presentations. And then what I try to do while, you know, first of all, I soaked up all the presentations. Fantastic. It's, you know, you've got real scientists rubbing elbows with ham radio hobbyists, and these guys are finding common ground, and it's extremely interesting. And it's a lot of fun. Now, you know, some of this stuff gets really technical really quick. But, you know, if you start watching some of those, don't let that intimidate you or push you away. You know, if some of that stuff goes over your head, just let it go over your head and keep listening and keep watching and grab that stuff that resonates with you, because there's some really interesting stuff out there. But, you know, like I said, Jason will be putting all of the, Jason's working with the ARRL, and they're going to be putting all of that information out there. I've done a few smaller interviews with some folks. They have what they call poster talks and demonstration talks. So I did a couple of videos with some of those folks. I put one out earlier today on a project called Radioconda. We're going to look at that just a little bit, because that's a pretty cool solution for implementing a lot of the software that we have used here on the channel a few months back. Whenever if you go back to when we were decoding satellite telemetry packets, a lot of that same software gets installed as part of this Radio Conda package. So it's a really nice package. But while we were there at headquarters, we got to do a tour, and Steve gave us a tour around the place, and he was awesome. I got to meet Don Izo for the first time. I've known Don for a long time online, but we finally got a chance to meet. So I talk about that a little bit. I got to operate there at W1AW. That was a lot of fun. Of course, we had to get a little recreation in on top of all this work we were doing. So we did a little cigar smoking, a little bit of fun there. Just a really great time. So go out here. I picked some of my favorite presentations, and they have the oral talks, they have the demonstrations, and they have the posters. I picked some of my favorites, put some links here so you guys can find some of that stuff if you're interested in that. And I tell you, I was so impressed. This was my first time up to headquarters, and I was so impressed. First of all, with the energy that was there, getting a chance to walk around and walk through the building with Steve, and getting a chance to meet so many of the people that are working there. I can tell you, this is not, this isn't your granddad's ARRL. There's a lot of good energy in that building, and they're doing some really good stuff, right? We all know the good work that Steve's doing with the Teachers Institute, but I tell you, there's a lot of other really cool stuff going on, and I've got something to show you here. It's a sneak peek that we'll be talking about some more. But this, again, is a great example of it not being your grandfather's ARRL. My membership had lapsed several months back. And, I kept thinking, I need to renew, but it just wasn't like the most important thing I had going on at that point in time. And I tell you, I was so impressed with what was happening. I was impressed with the energy. I had a chance to meet Ed N2XDD. He is the Hudson Division Director, and he bumped me and said, "Hey, you want to renew your membership?" And I tell you, I was excited to renew it. I wanted to be part of what is going on there. So check this article out too. This was a lot of fun. Now that was like the biggest setup in history. Okay. But this is what I want to show you. Let me see, where'd it go? This is one of the really cool things that I saw while I was there. Now, I can only show you a little bit of this. I can only talk about it a little bit, but this is really cool. This is a new web-based application that is going to be launched very soon. I want to pull up my chat here so I can grab any questions that might pop up. This is a new web-based application. It's going to be launched really soon, and it is all about tracking the various balloons with radio transponders throughout the world, right? Across all the different frequencies that they could be using. And I tell you this, a lot of times when we think of the ARRL, we'll think of Logbook of the World, and everybody kind of scratches their head a little bit and wonders why we can't get that right. This is an example of them getting something way right. So these are Don. So this is all kinds of, any kind of balloon that you can imagine has a radio transponder on it. So these could be weather balloons. These could be you know, any kind of ham radio project balloons. They cover all the frequencies. And what's really cool is, and I think, I got to be careful, I can't go too deep here, but, they do something. There's a lot of other applications that do some of this stuff, but they've got some unique features that make this really easy to consume and really easy to use. This is a fantastic looking application. It's a modern web application that's done right. It's really fantastic. So we're going to talk about this more when we can. But if you look here, when I took this screenshot, when I clicked on one of the balloons and I get some detail here, you can track the balloons. You can see there's a bunch of balloons. You can see all these little call signs kind of all across the globe. Those are all the various balloons that were, I believe this was on 20 meters. So this is a really cool application that really knocks the rust off of what a lot of people think about when they think of what the ARRL is capable of. This is really outstanding. All right, and with that, I'm gonna turn the page so if Steve's out there watching, he's not getting mad at me. Let me see here. I missed some stuff in the chat. Let's see. Frank, yes, I met Izo before you did. I smoked cigars with Izo before you did. We had a great time as well. We got to hang out all day, and Don is exactly what you would expect. If you watch Clubhouse, Don is exactly what you see on TV. He's an outstanding ham, and he's a better person. I mean, he chauffeured us around Connecticut, anywhere we needed to be. He got us there, hung out with us, took us to his cigar bar. We had a great time. We went to dinner. We picked up his wife. We went to dinner, hung out with his wife. It was really fantastic. That was a lot of fun. So, yep, I got one on you there, Frank. Let's see here. Yeah, they do have different trackers, Dawn. They certainly do. And they, different frequencies are covered. And that's what's kind of interesting about this is, this covers, I think there's a lot of spot solutions out there depending on the type of balloon you're interested in. This one here, I think covers some of those gaps that, we see in some of those other solutions out there. Yeah, the UI looks fantastic. They really, I was so excited when I saw this, right? And they've got some young developers on this that are really doing a fantastic job. It's really exciting to see, and it gives you hope. One of the other things I saw was a bunch of posters where they're looking to hire, the ARRL's hiring, and you'll see that on their website as well. So if that's something that you're interested in, they have everything from technical positions to administrative type positions, but they're also looking to hire some more developers, right? I think they've got one specifically earmarked for Logbook of the World, if I remember correctly. So some really good stuff. I can't wait till we can actually do a demo on this, and really, I can't wait for you guys to get your hands on it. It's really well done. Yeah, Izo is fantastic. Good dude, super dude. All right, let's see. Is the ARRL site like Tranquito? I don't know what that is. You'll have to give me a little more background on that, Dennis. Just not sure what that is. Let's see. They need to hire someone for, yeah, well, I mean, that looks to be one of the positions that they have currently open. So, yeah, I've always got to keep that in mind. Certainly, Chris, got to keep security in mind. All right, let's see. I'm yapping away here. I guess we got caught up on the chat. One other thing I wanted to give you guys a heads up on, for those of you who've been around the channel for a while, you may be aware that my first live streams were all satellite passes, live satellite passes. And I got away from that for a little while, partially because the solution I was using to manage the chat, speaking of security, was crushed whenever they implemented some cores types of implementations. They upgraded their games, and I say they, I mean YouTube. They updated their some of their security around cores, and that broke my chat system. And so I've recently, though, I think I've talked about this before. So I built a chat system for the late shift here, and I was able to modify that. And that's what I'm using for my mobile chat as well. So if you see that, that's the exact same font and chat system that I'm using here at the beginning of the show for late shift. And then the other thing I was able to finally figure out, I've always wanted to do this, and I actually put some time into it, is you can see a representation of ISS detector in the right-hand corner. And so this is a dynamic representation of ISS detector that I'm actually running on my phone. So I'm actually going to be able to show how I'm tracking the bird using ISS detector while I'm working the pass, and you guys will be able to see that. So I just wanted to bring this up there so that if you guys start to see some random live streams just showing up at weird, odd times, they're going to be these satellite passes, and this is something that you'll have a chance to look at. I was just out doing some testing. I see Josh is out there. Hey, Josh, I got my new hotspot that you were showing off there. And so I was walking around the ranch with that hotspot. I wanted to see what the quality was like. And it wasn't too bad. It was okay. I was having some issues. T-Mobile isn't the best out here. So I think I'll stay a little bit closer. I've got some decent Wi-Fi coverage around the ranch here, but I've got some other areas that aren't covered, and that's what I was trying. I wanted to see if I could get out in some of these other get out to the back 40. That didn't quite work as well as I'd hoped, but maybe we'll try that again. So keep your eye out for some random live streams. All right, let's see. A couple other things here I want to point out real quick. Did you guys see this? I thought this, I don't know what it was about this, but it struck me as interesting. This is the operating tent for Bouvet. This is it right here. They got 5 guys. They probably have at least 6, right? They got a camera guy in there. Maybe he's standing in the entrance, but this is how they were operating. They had like a mini circus tent here set up, and I just thought this was interesting, and I just wanted to pass that along. Again, congrats to the Bouvet team, and I know they're excited about getting another crazy island here next year. So hopefully they'll have the same kind of luck. Yeah, it does look like a proper yurt for sure. For sure. All right, let's see what else I've got here. You know what? I think, let me go back over here. Where is that at? Here it is. This is, I think, where I found that. I don't know if you guys know that that the team has a website out here. And I think there's a few more pictures out here. There's not a lot. There you can see the yurt. But I thought there was maybe one more picture. But there's lots of information on the team and stuff here. And I think they're probably going to share some information about the contacts that they made as soon as they get all that stuff kind of collated. Let's see here. Was it under news? I don't know where I found that, but anyhow, make sure you guys are aware of this being out there. Oh, you know what? I missed this. If you guys are ARRL members, you likely got in one of the communications a link to a bunch of the HamSCI photos. So there are a ton of photos out there. Hey, there's Jason. There's a ton of photos out there. So if this is something you guys are interested in, look for that ARRL email, and you can get a feel for what this conference is like. The other thing too that I'll just mention, right? You see a lot of young people at this. And yes, a lot of those guys are students, but regardless of the fact that they're students, they are involved in radio and radio science. So really cool. This is this was one of the presenters here. He actually made the trip in from Japan to do his presentation. You can see there was a bunch of folks there at W1AW. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. We've talked a lot about that, but I just wanted you guys to be aware. Hey, go check that out. All right, let's see here. Let me get back here. What else do I have to share with you guys here? Just a couple of items. Oh, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. I don't know if you guys are aware of this SilverSat. Take a look at the message here. Hello from space. Photo number 1 with a date and time stamp there. We had talked about this a while ago, and I'll admit I lost track of it. But this is really cool. I started seeing these pop up in X over the last couple of weeks. Check out this silversat.org. It's a CubeSat mission. Let me get to the right. Let me get out here to the right thing here. So this is a CubeSat mission. This is out of Silver Springs, Maryland, I believe. High school student-led CubeSat mission. And this is pretty cool. I think this is great. So they've got a camera, obviously, on the CubeSat. And when they capture images, they're then hitting the Twitter API and posting the pictures out to Twitter, out to X. I just think that's brilliant, right? That's, again, just trying to raise the profile of what these teams are doing. So if you're not familiar with these guys, go out there, check out, follow their X account, check out their website, because it really is pretty cool. They've got a bunch of images that they've been sending from that CubeSat. It's good stuff. All right, couple more items here. Let's see what else I got. See, I've had all these things just kind of stored up from several weeks here. Oh, I wanted to mention this one here real quick. I won't spend a lot of time on this. So Patrick, WD9EWK, really prolific satellite operator. He's a great follow on X. He had recently put together, he calls it a code plug. You can call it, you can call it your radio program, however you want to think about it. But he's got, we'll call it a code plug. That's what he chose to call it. He's got a code plug out there for the Anytone ATD890. And he's also been posting a lot of pictures. He's been using that radio. It's full duplex radio with his elk antenna. And he must work the late shift or something, because he always has a picture of his radio and his antenna laying across the hood of his car, talking about the QSOs that he's making on breaks during work. So go check out his channel, or I'm sorry, his account, and you can pull down that code plug along with a README file that he's got, and help you work satellites with that HT, full duplex HT. So that was very good. Oh, let's see. What other kind of fun things? Oh, let me share this one real quick. Do you guys know what that is? Let's see here. This is a Japanese satellite. Let me go ahead and get the... This is a Japanese satellite that's been out there for years and years and years, and I'm not even sure how old this thing is. But it has been suffering. I mean, it's been out there so long that the batteries are degraded. And it is recently moved into a sun-synchronous orbit. And so it is available all the time again. And you can see right out here, FO29, you can see everybody's taking advantage of it, right? This is so cool, right? This is probably a 30-year-old satellite. Let's see. I'm not sure when this thing went up. Let's see if this is from the AMSAT satellite listing. First of all, it's just a crazy looking satellite. But let's see here. Now, nobody has worked the Digitalker since its sun-synchronous orbit, but there's lots of, and this is linear, so you're gonna have to get out your 818, your 817, or your 9700, something like that, to work this bird. But there's a lot of SSB and CW going on this bird right now. So I just think it's cool when these old satellites kind of come back into prominence. It's very cool. Let's see. A Borg cube. Yeah, it's a crazy looking thing, isn't it? All right, let's see, what else do I have here? I've got just a couple of more here. A couple of more fun things. Let's see, I think we covered these. You know what? Here's another one that I feel like I dropped the ball on. You guys may recall back in, I think it was November, there was a group of Japanese satellites that were launched, and one of them was called Botan. And we were following these satellites for several weeks. We were following these satellites looking for telemetry. If you remember, we were using GR satellites looking for telemetry on these birds. And this is another one I lost track of. Let me just let me find this. This guy got taken out by a solar flare. So this is a little story here, and I'll put all this stuff in the description. So if you guys are interested in watching this, but this talks about losing that satellite. But what you guys may remember, those of you who have been around on the live streams in the channel here, is talking about this particular mission, which was kind of unique. They're talking about, this guy. Well, let's see. Can we? I don't think it'll translate that. No. Well, let me get to the mission. This will probably jog your memory. Remember, this is the satellite that part of the mission was taking pictures of these different pumice formations and cornfields. Do you guys remember that? Talking about the satellite trying to get pictures of cornfields across the United States. We'll go ahead and translate that. I forget exactly. Oh yeah, South Dakota. I didn't understand why they were looking in South Dakota, right? They should be looking in Iowa or Indiana, but they were going to be looking in South Dakota and taking pictures of cornfields. I just got a kick out of that. That may jog your memory. That guy got hit by a solar storm and became unresponsive and became space junk. So keep your eye out for that one. Josh, got some more space junk out there. Let's see. Yeah, that sprite illustration was good. That's kind of a fun, let me find out. Where'd that go? That's a fun little website. So I'm going to Japan later this year. So I'm trying to pick up some like basic Japanese. And this is a site that I had found, Japanese from Japan, that is to help people learn Japanese. And I was just shocked that they actually had a story, right? This happened back in January. I completely missed this when it happened. But I thought it was interesting that this website that I found for a completely different purpose had a ham radio satellite story as part of one of their lessons, part of their lesson plan. All right, let's see what else I've got here. Let me check in with the chat real quick. Let's see. Oh yeah, I'll be curious to hear how you guys did with Let's Make a Deal. I got out with $300, so I actually picked up one of those Anytone radios just because I've not used one of those for satellite contacts. And like I said, Patrick's been going crazy with that thing, having great luck with it. So I thought that would be, and that was, I think $250. Normally $299, marked down to $250. Yeah, Wild Radio's a weeb. There you go. Frank got out with nothing. Yeah, that's how you do it, Frank. That's how you save the bank account. Yeah, me in Japan is going to be entertaining. It reminds me of, was that a Tom Selleck film? Do you guys remember that Tom Selleck film where he goes to Japan as a baseball player? Yeah, Lee, I'll fit right in. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It'll be interesting. All right, let's see. What else do I got here for you guys? These are all things that, like I said, have just been kind of stacking up, things that I've been wanting to talk about over the last several weeks, but haven't had a chance. Now, I joined Jason's stream late tonight. I was getting ready for this. So I don't, maybe this was talked about. Maybe it wasn't. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen this, right? ICOM has started to put out these cryptic posts, trying to get everybody spun up for Dayton, which is great. I'm all about that. And, but these are really cryptic. So I'm curious. Let me pull this over. I'm curious to see what you guys make of this and what your opinion here is. Right? So this says, we've been listening. The community has been asking. All right. So supposedly they're doing something that we've been asking about. And this year we might just answer. See you in Dayton. What do you guys think this is about? You know, at first I thought, you know, are they just going to show off the 5200? Because I don't think that's been shown off in the States yet. So it would make perfect sense, right? We haven't seen anything related to FCC certification for that radio yet. So I don't think there's time between now and Hamvention to pull that off. So maybe they'll just be showing the 5200, but this kind of sounds like it might be about something else. I don't know. What do you guys think? Now including mounting brackets. That's good. That's funny. Steve, that's a good one there. That would be hilarious. Let's see. Yeah, no details. A cheap radio. Well, I don't know. I think the 2730 is a cheap radio. It's $300. Now, that's a 2 meter, 70 centimeter radio, of course, but I still count that as a cheap radio. Guy has a box in hand. What do you think they'll have ready to go, Tim? I'm curious. The other thing I think is a little funny is that they've kind of blurred out this dude's face. Probably this dude, certainly the dude himself, and everybody that knows this dude knows who this is. I think it's kind of funny that they blurred out his face. A new 100-watt mobile, that would be cool. You think maybe they're going to show off the replacement for the 7100 maybe? I don't know. What do you think? What have people been asking for? I mean, I think a new 100-watt mobile makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of people have been looking for that. I don't know. I think people have been looking for the next 705, the upgraded 705. I mean, this could be just about anything, right? And I guess that's the point, right? Let's get talking. ICOM and Yaesu have merged. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, Dennis. I mean, I think those two organizations are so far apart. I mean, it's so funny that you mentioned Yaesu, right? Yaesu, the last thing they want you to do is speculate, and ICOM embraces it, which they should, right? Anybody in their right mind would embrace that, right? There's no press. There's no bad press, right? All mode VU mobile. That would be cool. That would be very cool. More HDMI. A new QRP radio. I could see maybe a Mark II on the 705. We've been asking for the 891 killer. Yeah, I mean, that could be the 7100 replacement, right? 100-watt 705. Yeah, that's kind of the same thing. Upgrade of the 7100. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get a few more leaks here and there. Hey, at least they're having fun with it. I like that. Something ICOM that will cost $166.67 a pound. That I've never done the math, Arnie, but something tells me you have. You'll have to tell me what radio meets that criteria there. It would be funny if there are multiple radios that actually meet that criteria. That would be interesting. Controversy creates cash. Sure does. We'll have to keep our eyes out for that. I thought that again, I excuse me. I love that they're just trying to get people talking. I think that's the right way to do it. All right. Hey, one other update. While I was in Connecticut, Trina sent me a picture, because this always happens, first of all. The big boxes always show up whenever I'm out of town. So she reminded me of that fact. But the printer finally arrived. So this is my bamboo printer. Finally arrived. Right, this thing arrived just in time for the next Gigaparts stream. But anyhow, I'm excited. I've got it here. I haven't even had a chance to put it together yet. It's still in the box. You know, I got home at like 2 a.m. Tuesday morning, and you know, that's a whole nother story. I'm supposed to be home at 9 a.m. Monday morning, and I end up not getting home till 2 a.m. Tuesday morning. But, you know, that can happen when you travel. Let's see. Rick's Ham Shack. I love my 891, but it's a little long in the tooth. You know what? I really have to get better at this. Let's see. Let me see if it's even working. Is it working? It's a little slow. Look at that. Maybe the next one works a little better. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. I think I'm due for a reboot. I can see my machine struggling just a little bit. Have I got my 3D printer? Yes, Chris, those were the boxes. It is in the building. So this weekend I intend to get it set up. Looking forward to it. All right, let's see here. Well, I tell you, let me show you guys. I told you, here, let me see if I can move some stuff around, make some room. Told you guys I've got a few new projects that are starting to percolate. I want to try to show some of those off. Let's see here. Am I still, yeah, looks like I am. All right, let's see here. I'll show you guys some of the stuff I've brought home recently. And Tim, I don't know if you're still out there, Gray Man, but a bunch of us bought these tablets when we were at Hamcation, and for the majority of us, these tablets were no-go. We bought tablets. They weren't, they still were tied to the original account. And so we ended up taking them back to the vendor, and the vendor took them back. Tim, I think, was the only one that had one that was not locked. But I did pick up another one of these. Looks to be in really good shape. It just arrived today. So this is a tablet I'm going to set up in the truck so that I can run a bunch of ham radio apps in the truck. So I'm excited about that. We're going to get that thing going. Eventually I'll do a video of the install in the truck. Let me set that aside. Here's another little item that I picked up. And this is another one of those items out of my discussion with Jason while we were in Connecticut. I got myself a little AllStar Node. So, or the communication board that plugs into the Raspberry Pi. So this is from Hotspot Radio. So I'm excited to get this guy set up and get it. I bought this for the truck. Cool little device, and it comes with a nice cable that'll allow you to connect it to the Raspberry Pi. Comes in a little sandwich style acrylic case, but it looks to be really well done. So I'm excited to get this set up. I'm going to have to go back and watch some of Freddie's videos, or maybe I can get Freddie to help me out with it. Can't be that hard. I'll probably give it a try, and then when I run into trouble, I'll call Freddie. Yeah, that tough tablet is pretty nice. Let's see. So Jason actually runs this same AllStar Node in his truck. And so that gave me some confidence that it could stand up to the Texas summers. And You know, he said he's had really good luck with this style that uses a cable to connect to the Raspberry Pi versus a Pi hat that, you know, puts some, that has like a fan or some other kind of passive heat sink on it. So I'm excited about that. That'll be a project. All right, this thing here. So you guys of all, you know, you guys know what hotspots are and all that kind of stuff. That's, you know, it's exciting for me. Maybe it's not exciting for you guys. You guys may be doing that. I'm late to the game on that. Now, you guys can't see what's in this bag, but I got to show you this. This is pretty cool. Well, first of all, let's see. Let me show you guys. This is hotspot radio. And it looks like I got in just under the wire. So the one I have is the hotspot radio USB. And it looks like that model and the USB duplex repeater are out of stock. But it doesn't sound like they'll be out of stock for too long. But if you guys are in the market for, this is the one that I got right here. Right? It's not very big at all. If you guys are in the market, this is another source. Like I said, I know Jason's been running it. I don't have any firsthand experience with it. I'm looking forward to get my hands on it. Jason's had good experience with it, but that's just another source. You guys may want to check that out. Okay. This is cool. Okay, so this is a Belgian company called DP Technics. And this is a IoT device that's got a little something different going on. Okay, so first of all, it's got your ESP32S3, right? So you got this guy right here at the bottom. That's the ESP32. So first of all, this thing will run Meshtastic. You can see it's not very big, right? They've got it next to a AA battery. I haven't actually pulled it out of the packaging yet, but I mean, it is not very big. Okay, so it can run Meshtastic. But here's the other thing that I think is pretty cool, is it also has an LTE-M 5G radio on it. Of course, it's got a GPS receiver on it as well. But this, to me, is what makes this thing unique. And this is what got my imagination going. Right, so yes, it can do your Wi-Fi, it can do your Bluetooth, you're getting all that through your ESP, but, oh, let's see, do I have it in here? What did I do with that? Ah, here it is. Let me find it. Yeah, this is it. So I bought this SIM card by a company called Once. And this SIM card is a SIM card that works on this data spec here, this LTE-M 5G network. And so this is, I forget, I think a 500 megabyte data plan. And you might think, wow, that doesn't sound like a lot. But keep in mind, this is for an IoT type of implementation. Let me see. Let me get the chat here in case you guys have some questions as I'm going. Okay, so follow along with me here. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to put Meshtastic on this. I'm going to put this SIM card on this, and then I'm going to set this up for MQTT. And again, my private MQTT, not the public Meshtastic MQTT. And when you take a look at what the average size is of an MQTT message, this little card right here can handle 5 million MQTT messages for $15. This SIM card is $15. Put this SIM card in this device that's running Meshtastic, and now you can put this thing. Now there's a carrier card this is a brand new type device, right? This is really kind of the first of its kind. It's a brand new device. They've got a carrier board that's coming out at the end of the month for this that gives you a MPPT solar interface, as well as a multi-chemistry battery interface. And it's not very big either. All of this stuff is, about the size of your Heltec V4 card, right? Or your V4 board. And so you drop this on that little carrier card. Now you can put, think about that. You can put a device on, you can build a solar node, put this out in the middle of nowhere, as long as you have cell coverage for this network. And then that thing could sit there and send 5 million messages over, 10 years, right? I mean, 5 million messages is a ridiculous number of messages, right? That's probably going to outlast this board in the weather and the heat and all of that, right? It's, they pay your SIM card. So let's see what you guys think of this here. Let's see, all sorts of toys. Yep. That's what I said. It's dangerous whenever Jason and I get together and we've got a bunch of time to kill, and we start spitballing ideas and sharing interesting hardware that we've come across. So it's a 5G. So it's right. So the LTE, Dave, is 5G, and then your Wi-Fi. You've got your BGN coverage for Wi-Fi, right? And of course you have BLE. You get all that stuff out of the ESP32. But the unique thing here is pairing that with a SIM radio. So that's something I'm looking forward to playing with. Let's see. Yeah, Ronnie. So where's Ronnie's question here? So Ronnie says, I wonder if my Mint Mobile SIM for $15 a month, 5 gigabyte would work. I don't know why it wouldn't. That's pretty cheap, $15. I don't know why it wouldn't. Now, here's the other thing I don't know, right? I probably could have done a little more research on it, but, sometimes I'm, ready, shoot, aim. And that was certainly this case. I'm not sure which carrier is behind that once SIM card, but I'm sure we can find that out. Let's see. Well, David, it's going to be fun to play with. I'm not, I'm on a mission. Mission's probably it's probably too strong of a word. I'm I'm of the opinion that MQTT has gotten a really bad rap. And I want to make MQTT cool again, right? But it's how you implement it that's important, right? And yes, it's not off grid. Yes, blah, blah, blah. But it's another route. It's another avenue. It's another way to do some cool stuff with all of this hardware that we've all bought and have laying around the house. Multi-carrier. Gray Man. Yeah, if you're familiar with that, if you know a little bit about that, I'd love to chat about that. Let's see. Yeah, I think MQTT it's a lot of fun. You know, I can tell you whenever we were in Connecticut, I was telling Jason about it. He didn't know I had set up my own Mosquito server. But he joined it. He jumped on, and we were chatting. We were chatting with Rob, who's here in the chat, up in Alaska. Over the weekend, and Ed was on there from Philly. He was chiming in. So it was pretty cool. Again, it's these guys were able to get connected and see what was going on a little bit there while we were checking out the Meshtastic scene in Connecticut, and they got a chance to be involved in that a little bit. So I thought that was pretty cool. Let's see, what else do I have out here? Had I missed any of my tabs I wanted to share with you guys? If you're curious about this and you want to, you're considering getting one, those types of things, I picked one. Where'd I get mine at? There's a few different places you can get them. I got mine at Mauser just because they get stuff to me pretty much next day if it's in stock here in Fort Worth. Let's see what these guys. Yeah, this is a list of distributors, right? So here's a bunch of different distributors. Some are US based, some are European. So if this is something you guys want to find out more about, right? So you can see, right, these little daughter boards. Let's see, do they have a picture of that somewhere? It's a little bit bigger than this, the carrier board. But the thing's nice and tiny. They have a couple different versions of it. But you can learn all about it here, right? Once I started going through some of this stuff, it was like, oh my gosh, this is too much fun. I got to play around with this. There we go. There's the carrier. Look at this name, the Walter Fields. This is, the other thing is all this stuff is open source. So I think that's all pretty cool. All right. So here's the deal on the carrier board. So MPPT, charge controller, multi-chemistry battery charging, LiFePO, lithium ion, lead acid, right? So lots of flexibility there. It also comes with a host of sensors, which is pretty cool, right? And you can dump all that sensor information to MQTT as well, right? So it's just another way you can kind of leverage that. Lots of different interfaces, right? If you want to connect it to other things. So pretty cool stuff. So that's one of the things I wanted to share with you guys. All right, I lost the chat again. Hey, there's Bill. Flew extra fast. Bill, we needed you on Monday. We had quite the ordeal. So flying out of Connecticut, that big storm was coming in. I think at like 10 or 11 o'clock, they canceled my my 5:45 a.m. flight, and they booked me on a 5 o'clock flight later that afternoon. Mind you, we're flying out of BDL, which isn't a huge airport. Not a ton of options in terms of how you get from Connecticut to Texas. Couple directs, more options certainly for multi-stop, but anyhow, so Jason was already booked on a 5 or 6 o'clock flight, something like that. So we went to the airport. We hung out in the lounge for like 5-6 hours. Our flights kept getting delayed. Eventually I got to Charlotte, where my flight then to Texas continued to get delayed. I didn't get home until 2 in the morning. Jason didn't get home, I think, until 3:30 in the morning. So we could have used you, Bill. And it was, the problem was all the pilots were timing out. And on my flight from Charlotte to Texas, whenever the crew came in, they came over, and I don't know if this is real or if they just use it as a way to try to get people motivated. But, they said basically the pilot's got like 24 minutes before he times out. So we need to get this plane loaded and away from the jet bridge before the pilot times out. Bill, you have to tell me what's that delineating point? What has to have happened? Is it pulling away from the jet bridge, or what's that activity that has to happen that they can't come back from? I'm curious. All right, let's see. What do we got here? Oh, so that's kind of interesting here. Every now and then I take a peek over and I see how this vertical stream is going. Looks kind of interesting. I mean, right now it's looking at a vertical screenshot, so it looks real good. Reasonably expect to finish. So I'm not sure how that works then, right? Because he was like minutes away from timing out. And like I said, maybe it's maybe they were just trying to motivate the crew, right? Or motivate all the passengers, because all the passengers, right, they had been in the airport all day long as well. Everybody was kind of over it. But usually in that scenario, people just want to get home. That was certainly the boat I was in. All right, let me see. I've got something else I want to show you guys. This is, let me find, let's go back. So I dropped a video on this today. And this, I talked about this a little bit at the start of the show. This is a Conda package, and Conda is it's a packaging system that's extensively used, and the idea is that it can take some of the struggle out of setting up certain software. And so this one in particular caught my eye. I learned about this at HamSCI. There was a poster demonstration on it by the maintainer of this, and it caught my eye because, first of all, it includes all of GNU Radio and a ton of out-of-tree modules, right, of which GR satellites is one. And as I mentioned earlier, right, for those that have been around on the live streams on the late shift here, we've done a lot of work with GR satellites, and it can be kind of tricky to get some of that stuff set up. And what's really nice about this is that this package covers Windows, Mac, and Linux. So with this one installer, you get all of this radio software installed with support for all of these SDRs. And this is a project that the maintainer wants to expand and build on. His name is Ryan Volz. He's he is a scientist from the MIT Haystack Observatory, and he deals with these packages every day, and he knows how difficult they can be to get set up. So he took it upon himself to create this Radio Conda package so that people could get involved with these applications much easier. So if you guys have tried to install GNU Radio, especially on Windows or Mac, and you had trouble, check this out. Also, check out that video that I dropped, and Ryan tells you about it, tells you why he created it, and again, he wants to expand this. He wants to add more ham-related software, that fits the context into this package. So I was pretty excited to see this. One of the things that I thought I might do here is, now I already have GNU Radio with a lot of these out-of-tree modules set up on my primary ham radio Linux laptop, but I've got another Linux laptop that's kind of my daily driver. It's not really a ham radio laptop. I just use it for general computing. I wouldn't mind having GNU Radio on that, and I thought I might try to install this on that and just walk through this and capture that as a video to help others who might be trying to do that. Let's see here. Looks like there's a lot of chatting going on out there. What am I missing? I guess I'm not too far behind. Gotcha, Bill. That makes more sense. Okay. Minutes away from not being able to accomplish the flight. That makes sense. Now, one of the other questions I asked him about is, GNU Radio is a complex piece of software. You could do a ton of different things with it. And so I asked him, do you have any recommendations for people that are just getting started with it and just getting up to speed? And what he really recommended is, let's see, I think it's GNUradio.org. Yeah. He said all of this documentation was just newly updated, and he said it's quite good. So if you're wondering, what can you do with this? What's it look like? How do you use it? This is a great place to start. It does have a GUI interface that's called the Companion that you can use to build radio functions right? You can model out filters and different types of receivers. You can do all kinds of cool stuff. You can model it here and actually hook this up to a RTL SDR and see how it performs. And then if you have a hack RF, you can actually do transmit using this as well. So that's one way to use it. There are a ton of command line tools with this, and kind of not unlike many other applications, sometimes the GUI will restrict your capability, and the real power lies in some of the command line tools, and I think that's kind of the same case here. But they, all of this documentation here and these tutorials are really designed to help get you up and running with this. So, like I said, we had done a bunch of this back in November, and I thought it was a lot of fun. I think it might be time for us to pick this up again on a future live stream, and maybe we'll start with the companion here and try to come up with a fun little project that we can learn a little bit about GNU Radio with. And the thing I always think about is when these satellites go into orbit, they're the software related to decoding those satellites, the telemetry for those satellites usually lags behind the launch. And so I would like to get proficient enough with this so that I could build my own telemetry processor with either the command line or the companion while we're waiting for those satellite teams to launch their software. So that's always been my kind of big interest in GNU Radio. All right, let's see. Yeah, Wild Radio. You ought to give that a try. Like I said, and I'd be curious to hear. I mean, I've got an old Windows laptop laying around here somewhere. I'm even tempted to just try to do the install on that Windows laptop just to see how it goes. My understanding is that Windows can be a bear to get GNU Radio working. It can be a bear to get it working on Windows. So this is supposed to take all the pain out of that process. So I'd like to see it for myself, though. Let's see, Chris. Hey, looky here. I'm going to try to do this. Chris asks, what did you think of some of the Whisper stuff? I thought some of the Whisper stuff was really pretty cool. Another video that I completed, I think it'll be ready for Sunday. I think I'll put it out Sunday, is an interview with a young man named Owen, who is he's a student at Scranton and working with Dr. Frizzell. And he has he's got a project that he's working on to create a DXing and contest dashboard using a personal space weather station and leveraging the Whisper data that comes out of the weather station. And so there's, again, this isn't like a completely novel concept on one hand, because there's a lot of Whisper dashboards out there. There's a lot of Grafana dashboards. There's, a number of projects that are using Whisper data. But what I think is interesting about this one is, it leverages that personal space weather station that is a HamSCI project, and it's pulling all its data from that weather station. So it does not need to be internet connected in order to work. Now they've got some plans for that dashboard that may expand it so that you could use other personal space weather stations that are in the HamSCI network. And at that point, you likely are going to need the internet for it. But I think it's pretty cool to connect your laptop to this personal space weather station, collect the whisper data that's being received by that laptop or by that weather station, and then use that to predict band openings and other advantages for DXing and contesting. I think it's a cool project. It's pretty early in the project, but he's got his dashboard. He's posting whisper data to the dashboard. He still has to work through the predictive aspect of it, but he's off to a great start, and he's excited about the project. He's an engaging young guy, and it was really great to see. Right, I just love seeing all the enthusiasm around some of these radio projects. He's a sophomore. He's a second-year student, so it's really cool to see. Yeah, there's a bunch of those out there, Chris. I mean, there's a lot of that's really cool. Let's see. Hey, Ted, welcome. We're kind of, we're not really very topic specific tonight. We're just kind of all over the place. So, good to have you here. Welcome to the chat. We were just talking about a project called Radioconda to help you get GNU Radio and other related radio packages installed on your Mac, Windows, or Linux workstation. Pretty cool project. So you can just Google that. And then, of course, I've got all the links in my video that I released earlier today. So let me see what else I had here. I'm curious which, if any of these topics, maybe I should try. I should have thought of this sooner. Let me find my chat again. Maybe we'll do a little poll and we'll see what you guys are most interested in for a project here on the live stream. All right, let's see here. Like I said, I'll the ones that we don't do on the live stream, I'll be doing videos on. But let's see here. I think maybe I'm going to add some of the older projects to see if you guys are ready to revisit some of those. If you guys have a suggestion, go ahead and drop it in chat. I'm going to add here GNU Radio for satellite telemetry. I'm going to add the Walter IoT device. with the 5G SIM card. Let's see what else. Radio Conda. Live install. That's a good option. Let's see, what else did I have? What else did I have here? I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, yeah, the AllStar Node. A hotspot radio. I feel like a lot of people do that, but that's okay. Can I only do 4 options at a time? I guess so. All right, let's start a poll. We'll see what you guys think. We'll see what pops up. And if you guys don't like any of them, we'll move on to other stuff. We've got other good stuff. Let me see. Boy, I tell you, I was really hoping we would see something coming from ICOM. Maybe we'll see something from Kenwood. I really want one of these new VHF, UHF mobiles to drop. I really want to get one of those installed in my new truck. Did I get your message? Let me look. All right, so let's see here. Let's see. So I got Rob in Alaska. Looks like he came in around 10:30-ish. I got him on the MQTT channel. Let me see here. Yeah, I've got you. I got you, Rob. I'm just replying to a couple of these messages. These are folks that are connected to the MQTT server. Hey, I'm also curious if you guys are seeing the low BBS node out there. You guys are able to hit that BBS. You guys should be able to hit that BBS. All right, let's see. All right, I see Ed out there. Ed's coming in. So I don't see, Dave, I don't see you. I know you're that Mac guy. I know you have those Macs. iPhones have some issues. Can we pick all 4? We can. Well, I don't know if you can or not. Let's see how we're doing here. So the GNU Radio has got we're like 30, 30, 30. So no one seems to be interested in Walter, which is fine. We've got Radio Conda. We've got the hotspot, and we've got some GNU Radio stuff. Oh, this is the PC through MeshSense. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Okay. Trying now with MeshSense. Okay. Oh, here's the other thing. All right. I hate to show you guys this on one hand, but I gotta show you guys this. I gotta show this to you on the other hand. All right, let me see. I probably gotta reconnect here. Let me see. I am about to blow all of your minds. You're probably not going to believe me. Let me just tell you that right now. You're probably not going to believe me. All right, where am I at? Where am I at? Okay. So there you can see, Ed, I've got you coming in. Rob, I've got you coming in. This, if you guys see this low BBS, that's the bulletin board you guys should be able to interact with. So I've been rocking this low mesh, and this is, I hate to show you guys this because I know you can't go buy it yet. And that sucks. I don't see it. You know what? We'll check. We'll check out on the low mesh website, but I got to show you guys this. This is just blowing my mind. Okay, so I don't know if you guys are able to see. Battery life on this is at 40% right now. Right? 40% even. Now, you're not going to be able, I mean, I'm telling it, show me everything. I'm at 40%, and I've been running this on this same charge. I took this with me to Connecticut. We were chatting like crazy. You can see all the activity that we had there in pink, right? You can see all of that channel utility. I mean, we were doing a lot of chatting on this thing. I've had this thing running for over 2 weeks, and I'm still at 40% battery life. Let that sink in. This is a 2000 milliamp hour battery in this device. And I've been running for over 2 weeks, and I'm still at 40%. No, it's not this is the, let me grab it. That's this little guy right here that Steve was selling at HamSCI for $60, I think it was. Chris, it may die, but I can tell you, I've charged this thing twice since I've come back from HamSCI. I got 3 weeks out of it the first time I put a full charge on it, and I'm over 2 weeks right now. This is a 200 milliamp hour battery. The firmware changes that he's made to this absolutely work. Absolutely improve the battery life. It's crazy. Dave, have you started playing with that yet? I'm curious. I mean, you guys can see, it's not like, you know, now, I mean, there's certainly some times when there's not a lot of activity, but you can also see over a couple of days, right? We were hammering the crap out of this. Hey, and I got to give a shout out to Connecticut, Hartford area. They've got a nice mesh-tastic and mesh core scene. It's quite nice. All right, let's see. Nah, no problem. No problem, Rob. I get it. But if you haven't started running that thing yet, Dave, you got to start running it. .4 gig mesh, that's fun. But I mean, I don't know how I can run another node if I'm going to get 3 weeks on a charge with an active radio. That is insane. Yeah, I don't know. You know what? Let's go check him out. I've got to reach back out to him and see if he's ready to come on the channel. We've exchanged a couple of emails. I think he's warmed up to the idea. It's not really his favorite thing to do, and I can understand that. Let's see here. What does he have under the buy now? So that's just that solar node, which is cool itself. That's going out to Rockland. I know he's trying to get set up to sell these himself. Yeah, I don't see it out here yet. And what he may be waiting for, and I don't know. I haven't talked to him about this. I'm just, oh, wait, he's got his flasher right here. Beautiful. Oh, look at this. I wonder if these are tuned to these at all. I'm going to have to get them out. I'm going to have to get them on. I'll reach out to them this weekend, see if I can't get them scheduled. We gotta find out. First of all, I just got to give them props. I mean, Steve, dude, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, if you can start putting that firmware on other devices and it performs just as well, right? I mean, put it on everything you got as far as I'm concerned. I've had no problems running it. It's been fantastic. It's been super stable. I've had no issues with it. Like I said, 3 weeks in between charges, that's hard to beat. It doesn't have a screen. That's right. Are the firmware changes available? Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Yeah, it doesn't have a screen. But you know what? I've been on record before. I'm not a fan of a screen on a Meshtastic device. I don't really think it's needed. I mean, you're going to use your phone to interact with it. If it's a, kind of a standard node, if it's some sort of infrastructure, it's not like you're going to be interacting with it a lot. I just don't think they need screens. They just kill your device. Let's see. Have I published the full how-to get on the MQTT server? Ronnie, I have. Well, what I've done, let me see if I can find it here. I talked about it on a live stream a little ways back, and Wild Radio had asked me about it, and I pointed her to a timestamp. What I probably just need to do. So what I'm not trying to do, if everybody that frequents the late shift would join the MQTT server, I'd be thrilled. What I don't want to have happen is it kind of get out into the general wild and a bunch of people that aren't really part of the community, that don't interact with the community. And I'm not trying to be exclusive. I'm just trying to be practical. I don't want it to get out into the wild and it become the same issue that you have with the Meshtastic MQTT server. So I think what I'll do, I got to think about where to put it so that the community can find it. Because, hey, it's a lot of fun. Let's see here. And I think this is kind of cool. Let me show this to you guys real quick. To me, I think this is cool. I think silly things are cool sometimes, though. Where am I at? Right here. I mean, I love going out here on the map and, I can see Rob out there in Alaska, right? I know he's connected now. Ed, you must have turned your you must have changed your node or turned your GPS or something off, because I used to see Philly Ed out here all the time as well, but I don't see him out there anymore. And look, you know, the thing that you guys can do if you're worried about doxing yourself or whatever is, you know, do what I do. When I go out, I put static coordinates for the town that I live in on my node. So, I mean, to me, that's good enough for me. Yeah, maybe a members only video. I could do that. I feel like we've got people here that are part of the community that that aren't members, and I don't really want to exclude those folks, but maybe that's the way to do it. Hey, Kyle, dude, your rant on the U.S. infrastructure and roads just hit me at the right time. I saw that. I don't know what I was doing, but it just the timing in that was fantastic, and it cracked me up. I got a howl out of that. So thanks for making that video. That was awesome. Yeah, I could put, that's a good idea, Ronnie. I can put it in the mail list. That's a good idea. That'll do it. That's exactly what I'll do. It's been a few weeks. I was going to put one out with a little bit of information on HamSCI anyhow. And also I wanted to, I mean, I had such a positive experience at ARRL headquarters. You know, I was just really, really pleased and really excited about everything I saw going on there. But yeah, so I'm due to get one of those out, and I think that's the place to put it. Great suggestion, Ronnie. Thank you. Let's see, Brant, any fix yet for us iPhone users on the MQTT server? You know, I don't have, you know, I ought to try to see if I can find, well, you guys, I'm sure you guys who have iPhones have probably seen a number of the security things that have popped up on older iPhones. I mean, I wouldn't mind having an old iPhone. I've got lots of old Android phones that I use for various things, right? Because there's just so much horsepower in those, and they're open enough that you can do interesting things with them. I wouldn't mind getting an iPhone, so I have something I can test with. I don't have one of those, Brant. Maybe I can talk, maybe I can talk Dave into another session. We can see. Dave and I did like an hour and a half session whenever I was first setting that up, trying to get him set up originally. Maybe it's time for us to try again. Let's see. Kyle, I put the local Porta-John on my mesh node coordinates. Beautiful. Hey, there's 45. How you doing, 45? Good to see you out there. I'm either you're just coming in, you're sneaking in the back door, or I missed you earlier. My apologies if I missed you earlier. Let's see. Sean, how you doing out there? Good to see you out there. Brant's been looking for a low-cost Android. Yeah. I can understand that. I feel like Jason ACK has found one at one point, because I know there were some radio related apps he wanted to run, and they weren't available yet on Mac or on iPhone. And so you might want to look back through some of his videos and see if you can find one where he calls out that kind of cheaper low end Android device that he was using. This time I need to start from an Android with a known to work device. Yeah, that's a good idea, Dave. Yeah, just let me know if you want to chat, and we can do it over the phone sometime. We probably zip right through it. Yeah, you bet, Brant. I'm trying to think that that Jason had found kind of an older Pixel. Now I know he's running a Pixel, but I think it's still one with a pretty decent horsepower. I'm pretty sure it's pretty decent horsepower that he's running his open source radio software on. Daggone it, what's that firmware called? I forget right now. You know what? Let's see if we can find it. I've got something nudged me in that direction the other day, so I want to find out what that is anyhow. Let's see. Open source Android firmware. It wasn't Lineage. Let's see. There's a few of them out there. Lineage is one of the big ones, but that's not the one Jason's using. You know what? I want to check out the Calyx one. He's using graphene. I want to check out the Calyx one, though. Bill, I got my Calyx hotspot. I was telling Josh earlier, I got my Calyx hotspot in and set up. It's the 5G hotspot. So I pulled the trigger on that. But yeah, I'm gonna try to decide between these two. Let's see what they say. Privacy focused, includes micro G for app support, the graphene, high security and privacy, Android app compatibility. I'm going to take a hard look at both of these, and I'm going to install this on one of my spare Android devices. I can't remember exactly what started pushing me in that direction, but let's see. Ronnie found a burner for $35. Is that running Android? What version of Android is that running, Ronnie? I mean, not that you need to have the latest version. I mean, the only thing you have to worry about, again, is kind of the security issues. That's why going to, one of these other firmwares may be a better move. Yeah, you can get those Android tablets. Some of them are pretty damn cheap. Let's see. Yeah, graphene is that's the one I've kind of had my eye on. But when I got my Calyx hotspot, when I was checking into that, I noticed that they had an OS for an Android phone. So I'm kind of curious what the difference is between those two. Yeah, sounds good, Dave. Whenever you're ready, buddy, just let me know. Yeah, have you tried that firmware, Bill? Bill's been, he's been ahead of all of us with Calyx. Hey, Andy. Nice to see you out there. I think you were in earlier, and maybe we lost you for a bit. Welcome back. I've only heard Josh pronounce it that way. I think it's Calyx. Calyx? I think yeah, I don't know. You know what? That's such a weird word. That's got to have its origins. All right. Sorry, guys. This is some of the weird rabbit holes we go down. What's the origin? Maybe if we know the origin, we can say it right. So it's Latin or Greek. Let's see. Originates from the Latin term calyx. Do we have any Latin scholars here? Husk, shell, or pod. The word is also related to chalice, which sounds more like calyx. I don't know, Bill. All right, let's see. Let's just ask it. Okay, how do you pronounce it? What's this crap? No. We're not doing that. Oh, we're in. Okay. We're getting out of that. Let's go to. Oh, let's just go to Google, I suppose. Calyx. All right, let me get my headphones. Is it? What is that? That's funny. All right.
Calyx.
Calyx. Okay, let's see. What's this?
This word, a word from anatomy of plants and animals as well, from biology and medicine. Calyx is how it's said, 2 syllables, stress on the first one, not calyx, K.
Calyx.
Here are more videos on how to pronounce more confusing words and names.
Calyx. All right, Bill. We're going to go with calyx. Bill taught us something tonight, gang. Thanks, Bill. Squirrel. Yeah, tomato. Yeah, I know. Sometimes. Now, there is a switch, right? I think for at least for Google. Oh, just minus AI. Hey, look at that. I knew there was a switch. I couldn't remember what it was, though. Now, let's see. Will it also work with... How did I spell that wrong? Well, gosh, I don't even know how about that? Minus AI. Does that do the same thing? Hey, it does the same thing there as well. Okay. Well, there you go. Chris, you can have your old search engine. All right, let's see. Don't know how old you want. I have an iPhone 7 Plus. I don't even know how old that is. All I want to be able to run Meshtastic on it. I guess that's the key. So I don't know if you can run Meshtastic on that. I guess I need to figure out what's the oldest version I can run. Let's see, Android 14 model is TCL40. Calyx is an important part of flowers. Yeah, it sounds like it. Spelled differently, though. Yeah, it's got its place, right? AI has its place. Hey, where'd I see that? I thought this was outstanding. What is it? It's in GitHub. It is the DX and contesting dashboard. I want to find. Okay. So I told you a little bit about the dashboard that I can't remember Owen's call sign. Let's see, his name's probably in here somewhere. Here it is. Owen Ruzanski, KD3ALD. So that dashboard they've got out here on GitHub, which is great. What did I want to show you guys? I wanted to show you, was it under documentation? I don't know that I had seen, right? So, let's take a step back, right? So these are all science-minded people, right? These are people doing, real science for a living. And so a big portion of that, and I'm sure that kids in school, high school and college today have to deal with this notion of AI attribution, similar to what we needed to do with our reference sources back in the day, but it's at a different level in terms of AI. And they had, I'm trying to find where it was. No, they had their, it's in this Claude, right? So they were using Claude as the AI tool. And I thought this was outstanding. So they're showing where they're using AI, soup to nuts, right? Any place that they use it, right? The documents that they're using it in, how they're using it. Right? They're using, the Claude LLM. And I just thought this was really pretty cool. I mean, it's a ton worth of work. Perfect job for AI, certainly, to document all of the places where AI is being utilized in the project. So I thought this is the first time I had taken any time to kind of look at this type of attribution. And I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. I thought it was really interesting as well. Have you guys, do you guys have to deal, any of you have to deal with any type of AI attribution and things that you do for work or anything like that? I'm curious. Looks like iPhone 7 is too old. That's okay. That's okay. Thanks for the thought, though. It's very generous. Let's see. What's Bill got here? Let's share what Bill's got. I don't know if I'll get all that in. I'm kind of curious if I'll get it all in. It's not going to quite get it in, but to avoid issues with professors and the software they use for checking plagiarism or references, I avoid anything that might even be associated. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly tough. It's certainly easier to validate and evaluate whether or not someone has used AI in their work than it is even to go back and look at, when we were doing attributions, at least whenever I was doing attributions, it was to other print media, right? And somebody would have to go to the effort of pulling that printed reference, looking it up themselves to validate it. I mean, who's going to do that? But now it's so easy to check. It's pretty crazy. But I thought it was really interesting. First of all, I love that they're using AI to do this. This feels like the perfect type of use case for AI. Just pretty interesting. Let's see. We have an AI governance board. They take it quite serious. You should see some of the stuff I'm working with. Yeah, we've got a governance board as well. The trouble with the governance board, and I think this is problematic across the board, right? I'm not pointing fingers at any group or other company or my company. Is those governance boards can't keep up, right? They can't stay ahead of, if you have any kind of large organization, they struggle, right? They struggle to stay in front of the people that are using AI, certainly. All right, let's see here. So that was a pretty good rabbit hole. How are we doing here? Let's check. So the AllStar Node, right? Okay. I thought the AllStar Node would be kind of old hat, but hey, I'm all for it because it's new to me. And, I know whenever, we're caravanning, oftentimes Jason drives, and he's got AllStar in his truck, and it's a blast being able to chat with everybody else, as we're converging on some location, right? Because we're well out of radio range in many cases, or that radio range, or, it's not necessarily, there's no guarantee you're going to be able to make that contact if it's HF, depending on the day and, all the other factors that we all deal with. But being able to use AllStar takes all that stuff away. So here's what we're going to do. So for the next late shift, we're gonna put that AllStar node together. I've already got the Raspberry Pi, so I'm all set there. I'll do a little bit of prep work just to make sure I've got what I need, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it ahead of the show. We're going to do it together. And hopefully that provides more learning for all of us. Yeah, Chris, I mean, that's absolutely the way you have to do it, right? It is an individual person's responsibility. No question. The place I see where organizations can get behind sometimes is, when they want to approve every tool and every use, that's when I think they can get behind. I think they're better off if they can teach what responsibility looks like, and then have some way to peer review that. That likely helps keep up. But on the other hand, right, some of the issue might be if you're working with regulated data, once the cat's out of the bag, you're not getting it back. So, it's a tough situation, certainly. Yep, Chris, get that node out, because that's the thing, right? Once we get that thing working, anybody who's got a node, we ought to be able to chat. Now, I'm curious. I know a lot of folks will connect to Jason's AllStar hub. I don't even know if that's the right term. They'll connect to his AllStar server. Are any of you guys who already use AllStar, do you have a server of your own, a channel, or I'm not sure what the nomenclature is. Like I said, this is all new for me. I would be interested in setting one of those up as well. So I don't want to just set the node up. I want to have my own server in the cloud, just because I want to know how to do it. So I have no idea. Probably, I'm sure it probably takes a good hour to kind of walk through that. So maybe we'll do setting up a node next week, and then we'll revisit another week and see if folks want to set up a server. You guys have to tell me what the right nomenclature is if you guys know. It's all new to me. Let's see, what time we got here? I just connected Jason's hub. Okay, is it called a hub? Not sure how to set up a virtual node in the cloud. Yeah, I want to learn how to do that, Dave. Like I said, I probably end up using Jason's because that's where everyone congregates. But, I always want to know how the back end works as well. All right, let's see. What else do I got here? How are we doing? Are we still keeping people's attention here? How are we doing? We got 34 people hanging out. Chat has slowed down a little bit. You guys doing all right out there? Let's see what else we have. What do we got? We got 11:19. Let me see what else I've got here. I'll talk a little bit about what I've got coming up here on the channel. I've got a video that I'm almost done with on that rack 1 watt device. I've watched a number of videos on this, and I see a lot of people doing some odd stuff. I don't want to say it's the wrong way, but I think it's the wrong way. So I'm exploring that. I'm putting a video out on that. Let's see what else I've got. I've got Owen's DX dashboard coming out probably on Sunday. Let's take a look together here. Let's see if I can get connected. Still connected. Okay, good. Let's see if I've got some passes maybe this weekend that I'll look to live stream just to give you guys a heads up. Of course, there's one at midnight. Let's see here. Let's try to get into some normal waking hours here. Let's see. I've got to make an FO29 contact with all that activity that's going on out there on that satellite. I've got to get out there and get a contact in there. Let's see. But in terms of, ooh, look, we got one there. Oh, that's almost at noon. That's one I might do. This would be one tomorrow around noon. Look at that, almost a 90-degree pass. I think I'll try to work that one. I'll live stream that. Let's see what else we've got coming up that looks good. That 15-degree pass. Where is it? It's east to south. I've got a good horizon there. That one's a possibility. It's not great, but I've got a good chance of getting, early in that pass. I've got a good chance of getting some of those New England stations. That'll be pretty low altitude. I might try that one. So it looks like there's a couple of opportunities. This SO51 is going to be a really nice pass. That's a really nice ISS pass. I don't know about you guys, for you folks that do satellite stuff, but in my area, I've had like days and days of really lousy passes. Just either really low horizon passes or, really bad hours. But it looks like this weekend, and it's going to be hot here in Texas, right? We're in the 90s Saturday and Sunday. So that's the other thing to keep in mind. So earlier is definitely better. That one at noon, that one shouldn't be too bad, right? Like between 2 and 5 o'clock, that's when things really start cooking here in Texas. Why is the one ISS called Zarya? Been tracking everything lately because I built my own dashboard. So that is, that's a lot of satellites have kind of I don't know if you call it a friendly name. I guess we call it a friendly name. And the ISS's is Zarya. That's its friendly name. Right, if you go out to many of these different sources, and if you ever look up ISS, you'll see that's one of its friendly names or alternate names. I'm not sure what the difference is, right? So we've got the NA1SS, that's the US call sign. You got the RS-0 ISS, that's the Russian call sign. And then this is the satellite name. I mean, if we look at, any of these satellites, let me think which well, let's just we'll just look at SO50 Saudi Sat. I guess its alternate name is SO50 Saudi Sat 1C is its proper name. But yeah, it's I don't know what the source of that is. What's the source of the ISS name? Zarya. Let's see. Sunrise in English, symbolizing the beginning of a new era. It's the first module. Okay, interesting. So it was the first completed module, I guess. First module. The functional cargo block. First component launched for the ISS. Interesting. So there we go. I hope that's what you were asking, Chris. I just kind of went into that rabbit hole. Let's see. Bob, still hanging out with us. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Let's see here. I lost track of things here. What do we got? What'd I miss here? I guess I'm a Steve. Nice. I don't think I have my dashboard looking. Oh, Chris, that's the other thing. Chris, I'm going to have to reach out to you. I did get your email. Thank you for sending that. I mean, it looks, what you shared in that email looks awesome. I would love to learn some more about that. Chris is working on a satellite dashboard that really looks fantastic. Chris, that might be a fun thing. You tell me when you're ready to share that. If you'd like to share it on the channel, and we'll get you set up so that you can show it off here. We could even do it as soon as next Friday, but no pressure. You tell me when you're ready. Dave, yeah, stay hydrated, stay safe out there, Dave. It's going to be hot, buddy. We're not used to it yet. These early hot days are always the worst. You always see people, they're not ready for it, and people get themselves hurt. So be careful out there, Dave. But Chris, yeah, I mean, the work you're doing there looks awesome. You tell me when you're ready to share, and we'll get you on. We can talk about it. That would be very cool. All AC. Okay. Work your butt off then, Dave. Get out of that place. Let's go. What's taking you so long? If you're in the AC, we're going to crack the whip. Good luck to you, Dave. Hope you can get it all done. Not to share yet. Yeah, no problem. No problem. You tell me when you're ready, and we'll show off your good work. If any of you other guys have some, pet projects that you'd like to share, hey, that's all part of the experimentation. That's all. I mean, I'd love to help show that off if you guys have some projects that you want to share. Bob's got 96 in Vegas. Ooh. I don't know how hot we got today. It was in the 90s. It was not 96 though. We may have been just a little bit behind you there. We were 91. Yeah. We got 91 again tomorrow and 93. I'm gonna try to do some early chores tomorrow so that I can do some other stuff in the afternoon. I want to try to get a couple of those passes in. That'll be fun. Get some FM passes in. I'll see if I can, maybe we'll do, that's interesting. I gotta try to figure out, oh, you know what? I can do that through ISS detector now too. The interesting thing to always show from a linear perspective, working a linear bird, is that the transponders are inverted. And I've always wanted to show that. And now, with what I'm able to do, let me just see here. I'll show you guys what I mean. Yeah, beautiful. All right, let me switch over here. This is cool. I think this is cool. Let's see. Where do we got? Okay. So you guys saw in that screenshot I shared earlier, I'm now able to put a live image of ISS detector in my heads-up display whenever I am live streaming that portable. The thing I've always wanted to be able to do is kind of show that inverse responder transponder relationship while I'm working a pass. And if you look in the bottom half of the ISS detector app here, you'll see that represented. So if I come over here and I drag one of these items, like if I drag the downlink, well, let me hit the little plus button. That probably works better. So you can see as that frequency goes higher, the 2 meter frequency goes lower, right? So that's that inverse relationship. And I never really had a way to show that. It's difficult to show that while I'm trying to work the bird and trying to like use a camera image of the radios, right? So you could see the VFO and the display on the radios, but I don't need to do that. I can show you right here in the app. And now that I have a way of sharing the app to the HUD so that you guys can see it in real time, that would be pretty cool. All right, let's see. Rob says, finally warming up there, 25 right now. Oh boy. That's rough. John moved to his new QTH. Hopefully you'll be back on the air soon. Yeah. Congratulations on the move, John. I know it can take, when you move, there's a ton of stuff to get done. I can see how the radio stuff gets to the bottom of the honeydew list. Let's see. 105 in Apache Junction. Hank, dang. At least it's dry heat. Yeah. Crazy. All right, let's see here. Chris is, my goal is to get this rotor out into the larger community. Nice. Yeah, it sounds like a fun rabbit hole, Chris. That's good. 105. Yeah, that's painful. That is painful. Yeah, you know, I don't know. I'm looking at this screen here for the vertical live stream. I'm going to have to go back and try to see how Clubhouse is doing that. I don't know that I've got a way. Let me drag this over here. I don't know that I've got a way to influence what that vertical stream focuses on. I don't think I do. I don't see anything here. So if I'm in one of these screens where I'm down in the corner, like, on a screen like this, it's fine because I'm in the middle and it's kind of just capturing the middle. If I'm in a screen like this where I'm in the corner, all that the vertical viewer is getting is just kind of the centerpiece. That's probably not very exciting. I'll be curious to see how they handle that. Let's see. Yeah, that's a little warm. Yeah. Well, let's see. I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover. I'm curious, are you guys aware? Are you guys plugged in? Have you been paying attention to that California AB1043 thing that I mentioned earlier in the stream? I'm just curious if people are aware of that and if they understand the potential impact. You guys will have to let me know in the chat. I've talked to a couple of our developer friends that put out solutions that you guys all are familiar with, and I've got at least 2 people that are interested in coming on to a discussion. I think that's probably enough to have a really good discussion. The age verification thing, Ted. Right, so that's this guy right here. Again, we might have some different people in the audience here. I mean, if you're not familiar with this, I would really encourage you to go out and read this. I'll drop it in the chat for anybody who may be interested in looking at it. It has some significant consequences. It's certainly something everybody should be at least aware of. All right, I'm going to end the poll here. I'm going to grab a screenshot of it real quick here first. Far and away, we're going to, the AllStar Node is the winner. The GNU Radio for satellite telemetry was a pretty healthy second place. That's 39%. That's not nothing to sneeze at. So we'll certainly revisit that as well at some point. I'll go ahead and end that poll. And there you guys can see that. We had 31 people chime in, so thanks for that. Yeah, I mean, I seriously believe that unless something changes, there are going to be distribution, right? I mean, for people like Microsoft and Apple, they can manage dealing with this, but in the Linux world, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, I don't like it on Windows or Mac either, but it's like, I mean, just imagine if you are a software, if you create software for Linux, and I mean, we all know how this works, right? We have all these different versions and distributions of Linux because nobody can necessarily agree on certain aspects of what the operating system should be or what it should look like or what it should do. And so there's nothing to say that all Linux distributions are going to manage this age signal in the same way. So now if you're going to support Linux with a piece of software, you may have to deal with that age verification in a handful of different ways. And who's going to want to do that? Who's going to want to have to know how to do it, for this set of distros, and you have to do something different for another set of distros, and something maybe even different again for another set. Now there is some work going on in the Linux community to try to come to some agreement on how that may be implemented, but I have no illusions that everyone's going to agree and want to do that the same way. It's just going to be a real mess. Yeah, the other thing that's really interesting, Chris, it's worth going out here and reading this again. It's not super long, right? That's it. That's the whole thing. That's the whole bill. But the thing that's really interesting is how they define an operating system and how they define an app store. It's such a broad definition that, even something like 73 Linux, which allows you to pick and choose what applications you want to install, under the definition of this bill, that becomes an app store. You're controlling the options that a user has. And now all of a sudden you get pulled in to this regulatory nightmare. It's crazy. Yeah, there's just this is the problem when people who don't understand technology are trying to legislate technology. Yeah, no, I mean, Ted, that's a great point. That's a whole nother wrinkle here. Is not only is there risk for those developers, but now you've got to trust the operating system to manage that data correctly, right? To keep it secure, to manage it correctly. Yeah, it's a bad deal. Sean, thanks for hanging out. Enjoy your weekend, buddy. 7-3. We'll see you next time. Yeah, no such thing. Yep. I'm with you. So hopefully that's a discussion you guys will be interested in. I think it's an important topic. Like I said, I don't think people understand. The other thing that's just such a nightmare is, this goes into effect January 1st, 27. But any app who has updated their software since January 1st, 26 is obligated to meet the requirements already. So you just do a bug fix to your software, and now you're on the hook to implement this if you're going to if your software is going to be used in the state of California. Crazy. GoKit Challenge is happening tomorrow. Thanks for mentioning that again. Frank had mentioned it earlier. I know Frank's heading over. Sean, I know you'll be there. It's going to be a hot one for you guys. I will not be there tomorrow. I'm going to be doing chores in the morning, and I've got I got so many projects to do. I'm going to tear into some projects tomorrow in the heat of the day. Looks like there's not a lot of interest in Walter, so I'm going to tear into Walter tomorrow. Actually, what I got to do is I got to finish that 1 watt radio video first, and then I'm going to start tearing into Walter. I'm excited about that. And I need to get the 3D printer working. That's true. I've got my spot planned for it. Got to get that bad boy going as well. Well, let's see how we're doing here. We're down to 29 folks. Let's see. Wait, we may not see you after that. Yeah, for sure. The Dupa, and to think in 7th grade, we all got a Hotmail account in class without parental consent. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, it's, the interesting thing is, right, and this is always the case, right? It's, who's going to argue with wanting to protect children, right? Everybody knows that's a good thing. But I don't believe it's the government's job to do that, right? That's the parents' job. Parents need to be responsible. Parents need to be taking care of their families. Parents need to take care of their children. It's, but that's the guys, right? That's what we'll bring it in under, because it's tough to argue about doing something to protect kids. Hey, Sean. Yeah, I'm getting close. Let's see, who does this really protect? Yeah, it's, well, like I said, I don't think it's practical from an implementation standpoint. Here's the other thing, right? So, the operating system, when it's being installed, has the responsibility of capturing the age information of the user who's doing the install. Well, that doesn't mean that that's going to be the person using the computer after it's already set up and installed. I just don't, there's so many aspects of this. And again, I encourage you, go read this. You'll be scratching your head when you read this and you start to think about, how am I going to implement this, right? How will this be implemented? And the other thing that's interesting, right? This is just, again, this is the Trojan horse, right? It's, they're asking you for your age information. They're not verifying it. They're doing nothing to verify that information yet, right? That's the scary part, because the next step, in my opinion, would be they need to verify that information. How are they going to do that? Right? Are they going to go the Discord route and say, hey, you've got to provide a government photo ID to verify your information? Boy, I hope not, but boy, I wouldn't be surprised either. So give this a read. Check it out, folks. I think it's important. At the bottom, I encourage you also, right? Contact the ARRL. I think they've got a place to try and, right, we need a safe harbor. We need a non-commercial, open source safe harbor. That's my opinion. And I think the ARRL should be involved in that activity, right? The Electronic Frontier Foundation, right? They're the ones that are usually on the forefront of these things. I think they have a part to play here as well. And then if you're in California, right, or Colorado, because that's where it's spread to next in Colorado, right? They've got a copycat bill. Contact your assembly member. Let them know how you feel about it, right? Let them know how impractical this is, because that's really the issue. It's impractical. All right. Let's see. Well, yeah, that's the problem, Ted, right? So now what's next, right? Some other type of validation, right? Is that going to be biometrics? Is that going to be, right? I mean, they've got biometric information on so many people, right? You've got your fingerprint, your face scan, all those types of ways to unlock your phone. Are they going to go in that direction? Yeah, the EFF does some good work, certainly. And they're the ones, right, in my opinion, they're out there challenging that tech illiterate legislation. They're the ones that are going to bat. Oh yeah, all that stuff's worrisome, Chris. How secure is that stuff, right? I mean, yeah, it's a bad deal. It's a bad deal. All right, let's see here. What do you got here, Hank? This does. Yeah, I mean, there's liability all around. That's the problem, right? And when they do this per child, depending on who uses your application, here's the other thing that I think is, and I point this out in the article I did. We have so many digital modes, and even analog digital mode, or voice digital modes, but like real digital modes, right? I'm thinking of things like JS8 call, right? That's a good example, JS8 call. So now, if you're the author of JS8 call, you've got to interrogate the operating system when the software gets installed or when the software gets opened, and find out how old the user is. And let's say the user's 12. Now you've got knowledge that the user is 12. And if you don't have a different version, or if you don't have a different route in your software, a child safe version or route in your software, and all of a sudden that child now has a text exchange with an adult that is a bad exchange, we'll just call it that. Now you knowingly, as that author of the software, you now knowingly put that child in jeopardy. Quote, jeopardy, right? And now that's a $7,500 violation. Just crazy stuff. But anyhow, yeah, can we go back to pagers? Dial up and pagers. All right, gang. I think this stuff just gets me frustrated. Maybe we'll wrap it up here. Let me make sure I haven't missed anything real quick. We have 26 folks out there watching. Thanks for sticking around, folks. Thanks for hanging out for nearly 3 hours. Appreciate that. It's always fun. It's good to get back in the saddle and get back into the swing of things. Looking forward to next week where we're going to work on the AllStar Node. Keep your eye out. Make sure you ring the notification bell, whatever that is, right? So you guys are aware this weekend whenever I live stream some satellite passes. So it'd be great to see you guys out in the chat and be able to share live satellite passes with you guys. I always try to answer any questions that I can during those passes. I keep hoping that one day we're going to do a pass and we're going to get to hear an astronaut on one of those live stream passes. That's really what I'm hoping for. But yeah, I'm going to get back into the swing of doing those. So hopefully you guys will be able to join in and have some fun with that as well. Oh, you bet, Wild Radio. Let's see. Yeah, Chris, we'll have to set something up. We can have a chat for sure. Did I pick up any cool gear? Well, I picked up a few different plates for the 3D printer. I picked up a diamond plate. I picked up a carbon fiber plate. I picked up the dual plate as well. So I got a few plates. And then I picked up a radio. Picked up an HT. So you guys, I know, Sean, you came in a little late. One of the things that I talked about, let's see here, where'd that go? One of the things I talked about is Patrick's code plug and README file that he put together for this Anytone D890UV. I don't have that radio. Well, I don't have it in my hands right now, but I ordered it. So that's I think it was down to $250. So I didn't buy a ton of stuff, but I did pick up that radio. I've been seeing all the fun Patrick's been having with that HT. It's full duplex HT. That is satellite ready. So I thought that'd be a good radio to add to my travel kit. So yeah, I'm excited to give it a try. All right. Well, again, thanks everybody for hanging out. I appreciate y'all and hope you guys have a good weekend. If you're dealing with the heat wave, be careful. You guys in Arizona, Las Vegas, Nevada area, and here in Texas, certainly. I'm sure there's some other places that are baking, but be careful out there. And we'll catch you on the next one, gang. Thanks for sticking around. 7-3.